Begin In Your Head Wrestling Radio. I'm the internet icon, the pride of the pilgrims, most honest man in all of podcasting, Nasty Neil, also known as Jackie Jones. That's right. So, I haven't been here for a little while. So we're doing a Saturday show. I'm going to tell you right up the front here, it's not going to be a super long show. But we'll be back our normal shows on Tuesdays this week. So the last time we were live, we were playing I don't know, I thought the show was actually very fun. The end of the show, I'm sure you've seen it. And OIB, he quit. He quit the show, rage quit live on the show. He blocked me. Hasn't spoken to me since. Hasn't wished me happy birthday or anything. So I assume I'm going to go for, I really did think like, maybe we should just quit the show, wrap it up. But I would miss doing the show. So do I want to come on here and review stuff every week that I may not have even seen? No, I do watch AEW almost every week. This week was a little different because it was my birthday, so I was very busy. So I'm going to take a little step back. That doesn't mean doing less shows, but going to go back to how In Your Head originated. And that was interview driven show. So going forward, we're going to start the show with interview like we used to. And then the rest of the show will be kind of what the show has been lately. So if you're a newer viewer, you knew the show, me and Inch would come on, would review Dynamite, whatever, goof around, take a bunch of calls and all this stuff. And so that really was how the show always was, pretty much. Only that would be called the post-show segment. And it would always start with an interview. And if people who watch my horror show Without Your Head know, it's you almost always starts with an interview. Oddly enough, lately, not always. So sometimes it's just us talking. But anyway, so I've got some guests lined up. Ahmed Johnson will be coming to the show for the first time. I reached out to some of my old friends. So hopefully got some of our pals like George South will be returning to the show. And we'll see. Now, I know from experience, we used to do the show every week, tons of guests on the show. And then things started to change because of two things. A lot of wrestlers started doing their own podcast. And then a lot of the marks out there started to pay people to do interviews. And that's all well and good. But even people I knew pretty well, they were like, yeah, I could do the show, but this guy over here pays me $500. So am I going to do your show for free? No, I get it. I understand it. I had this conversation with Buff Bagwell. Buff was on the show before. Was a really good guest. Years later, things are different. Now it's $500. I'm not paying people anything to come on the show, especially $500. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe it won't work out. I don't know, but I think we're going to try to bring some guests on the show and maybe do some theme shows. Look, everyone out there reviews every show that's in existence. So by the time you get here, you've already heard everyone reviewing Raw and no offense to the Raw report and SmackDown and Dynamite and all these shows. Maybe we'll do something a little different. Maybe we'll do lists. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So anyway, if anyone has any ideas out there, you can reach out to me at iyhwrestling@gmail.com. Actually, something that would be fun. The only problem with this idea is WWE owns everything, and they're real assholes about this stuff. If I show a clip of anything, immediately after the show, it's like WWE is saying they own this, and then I got to edit out the show. But I thought sending in some old clips of wrestling, and I could play them and talk about them on the show. But it would have to be probably either indie stuff or maybe from some territory that's not owned by WWE. Let's see. We got Nolan Price in the chat. Hello, Nolan. What's up? That's right. So hit the like button. Become a member. It starts at only $3 a month. And if you do the $10 tier, it's only $10 a month. You can get your name on the show, like our fine folks here. El Santos World, Brian Matthew Cluttar, and the Lurker. So people are wishing me happy birthday. Appreciate that. We did a 4-hour birthday show on Without Your Head. Opened a ton of cool gifts, including this, a fake navel, which I think is look, I got some weird ass gifts. And if you want to watch them all, you can watch Without Your Head. But I think this is the biggest troll gift of them all. A fake belly button for people who I think out there. I don't have a belly button. It was a life-threatening surgery, not to remove my belly button, but one of the side effects was I no longer have a belly button. And then for Jason Mitten to send me a fake belly button, this is very hurtful, Jason Mitten. Now, he sent me some much weirder stuff. People be like, yeah, but what about the dog? What about this pin? Eat ass and hail Satan. Whatever. I think that's pretty funny. But this is personal. This is like, you don't have a belly button, buddy. Boom. This would be like if you sent my buddy AJ on Without Your Head. You sent him like a fake leg. The man he has only got one leg. And he'd be like, here, pal, here's a leg. Which he did. Jason did also send me a leg. It's very strange. Gogo13 sent me some cool stuff. I got a package after Thursday's show, so I think I'm going to open that next week, and I think I may have some other stuff coming. Let's see. You felt pretty dull and boring comparing my gift. Oh, but thank you, Mr. Vic Schiavone. You got a very cool mug here, which is going to sit right here on my shelf. It's sweet. Maybe, look, I get your idea saying this is boring compared to, an insertable dog, but let's be honest, which is going to get more use? The coffee mug, the coffee. There's also the thing up here you can do super tip. By the way, we have the capacity now to do AI voices. For super tip, and how that would work is they're not set up yet. Well, you can do them, but they're just generic names. But how I could set it up is I can feed into the AI our voices. So like myself, OIB, which I'm sure would make you very happy, or whoever, and then like you send it, you write in wherever you want, and it'll pop up on the show in their voice. So I would be into doing like some former In Your Head guest, but I am concerned about the legalities of such a thing. Like if I don't want the family at New Jack coming after me or Paul Bearer. You know what I'm saying? Is it still cool for me to use your old stuff? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, of course. What do you use it for? By the way, Rib Shot, like the old interviews. If you're using the old interviews, yeah, as long as you give us credit, yeah, that's cool. Let's see here. AEW sucks. Arg! I'm a fan. My dad can beat your dad up. Damn. They're fighting words. Trevor Nolan. Thanks for the membership, Mr. Buddy Lee. You're very welcome. Yeah, I gifted 5 memberships earlier in the program. Why did he quit? So yeah, on the honestly, it seemed like a pretty typical show in my opinion. I mean, any longtime listener in your head's been, built around like busting balls, friendly ribbing. I mean that troll. I mean it is. We started, on a message board, and that the message board was way worse, I think, than stuff on the show. And I didn't really see anything out of the ordinary on the show. He got very mad about the AI renditions, and he quit. So I don't know. I mean, the weird part for me was he blocked me personally, and hey, I'm not gonna say I'm this perfect dude, but I don't think I did anything to be honest on the show. He turned heel. I mean, no, I like insurance stuff, but at the same time, I'm not going to beg anyone to come back. So hopefully he does. I don't think the other show will be the same, just me here talking. But hey, happy birthday! Thank you, Golgo. 50 years old. Damn, 50 years old. So what I did do is I made let's see, to make cartoons. Oh, sweet. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, as long as you can link us. Yeah. All right. So you're gonna use like the audio to like make a audio cartoon? That's interesting. Yeah, I just as someone involved in the movie world that don't the AI voices are a very shady area. Mike Bessler pissed him off. That's very true. I think you should have blocked Mike Bessler. The Sean Cap, that's right. The Sea Captain, the Sea Cap. I made some pretty sweet AIs, but we'll see if we play them later on. So I did make a list. Now, so we started in 2005. This is technically 22 years, but let's give or take 20 years. Now, these aren't necessarily my favorite interviews, but I made a list of interviews that mean the most to me from the show. So we've got some honorable mentions on here. Rip Rogers, Paul Orndorff, Bundy, Tully Blanchard, Manny Fernandez, Gary Hart. All mean a lot to me for different reasons. I mean, really, I could have a list of like 50 honorable mentions. Piper does not make my top 10 because Piper was technically never on In Your Head. I interviewed him on Without Your Head at a horror movie convention. Or else he would be on my list because my favorite wrestler growing up. The only time, so people don't know, in the horror world, I used to host a lot of panels. And the only time that I actually was like, I don't want to say starstruck because it wasn't really starstruck, but and it was even when I was doing it. So I was hosting a They Live panel. So it was Keith David, Roddy Piper, and me. And when I saw the photos afterwards, and I was like, damn, like this is a guy that I grew up like idolizing, my favorite wrestler. I was a good actor. The reason I really became a wrestling fan, I'd say, is Piper. And it was really wild to see me, pictures of me up on stage with him. So Piper's honorable mention. He'd be totally here. Just he was never on this show. So number 10. These are, I hate to order anybody, but we're just, from 10 on. Bruno Sammartino, the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. And so the thing is with Bruno, when I was a kid, I would see him, and he was a guy from a whole other era. And so I didn't really get the importance of him, but he did have this aura about him. And it was clear that he meant something like in the past. And I couldn't really understand that so much as a kid. But at the same time, I did like get that, like, oh, this is somebody that you should like, I don't want to say fear, but like you should have like an appreciation for. But when I was a kid in the eight, so I kind of get today sometimes when people are against like bringing back older guys. For me, I like it now because it's usually an older guy that I grew up with, so I remember them in their prime. And unlike a real sport in pro wrestling, the legends can come back and do something cool. You know, Sting can retire tag team champion. You don't have that in a real sport. You know, Troy Aikman's not going to come out for the Dallas Cowboys and throw the winning touchdown. Larry Bird's not going to come out and hit a 3-pointer for the Celtics. But in wrestling, you can do this stuff. Now, so I like that. That being said, when I was a kid in the 80s and they would bring guys like this back, Bruno Sammartino, Wahoo McDaniels was like a regular performer on the NWA, Baron von Raschke. I remember when they brought in Wildfire Tommy Rich, former NWA champion. I was like, whoa, this guy's like a big deal. And so not all that really worked for me as a kid. So I get it today. Like, yeah, it's nostalgia for longtime fans, but modern fans who have no history with these people, does it work for them? I don't know. So Bruno at that time didn't necessarily work for me, but he did on some level. I think more so than those other guys. Because I remember Bruno coming out of retirement. He was a commentator, and he came out of retirement to fight Macho Man in a steel cage at Boston Garden. And I was like, wow, this must be some big deal. Like this old I hate to say old guy, but I don't want to make fun of him. This is like Dave Meltzer when he does the tributes and he makes fun of the guys. But he had the comb over, so he'd start wrestling, and the comb over would just be flopping over here, and he'd have to keep pushing over his head. But it was clear that the guy still had charisma, and the crowd reacted to him. So I knew, even as a kid, like I knew there was something to this. So years later, you know, I get to understand Bruno Sammartino and the importance of Bruno Sammartino and how he had the title for so long that, you know, no one's really going to ever beat that record. People, even today, like when they have people beat the record, they always say modern day record. They don't say all time record because they'd have to keep the belt on a guy for like 7 years. And I also respected Bruno throughout the 90s and into the 2000s for standing by his morals. He was, you know, anti steroids and really anti WWE until he came back. And I'm not saying I like that he's anti WWE, although I kind of am, but I like that he stood by his morals, and he was one of the few guys for a long time that never came back. I'm not going to fault him for going back though. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is in wrestling, anytime there's a gay person in power, that there's always going to be the rumors that whoever like is champion under them, you know, they did some kind of favors for them. But I never saw Tommy Rich in his prime. I only saw, and I think his prime was really only like a year or so, to be honest. And while I enjoyed him in ECW as the Big Don, Tommy Rich, when he came back as Wildfire, it didn't work. I don't think it really worked at all for anybody. It must have just been a certain period of time. He really connected to the fans, but if you didn't see him in that era, I don't think it translates. So yeah, Bruno stands by his guns. I like that. And so when the opportunity came up to get Bruno Sammartino on the show, I was like, wow, this is really like a real legend from another era that's still with us. And that was like pretty wild to have Bruno on the show. He's a good guy. He's good interviews on twice. I remember meeting him at a fan fest in Charlotte. And I was I wasn't in my 20s, but I was in my early 30s and not in great shape. But I remember he was he's probably close to 80. I don't know. He was up there, and I'm assuming he was in the 70s. And he would get up at like 6 in the morning and take like laps, he would jog laps around the lake. It was pretty wild. So Bruno Sammartino, number 10 for me. 9, maybe a name that might surprise a lot of people, and that is Nature Boy Buddy Landel. And so Buddy Landel, I always liked him as a wrestler. I remember I always thought like super underrated. And as a kid and stuff, I never understood why certain people were used as like job guys or enhancement talent. And he was one of them because he could talk, he looked cool, he had a belly and stuff. Great wrestler. He did they did the corkscrew elbow drop, which was neat. And he was just a guy I liked in the NWA. NWA had a lot of like really talented. He wasn't like a jobber, but he was right up above those guys. And I never really understood that. And then I was excited when he was going to have a run in WWE a little bit later on, and it just fizzled out. Later on, I found out, he's his own worst enemy. And while this one's on my list, though, not only was he a good interview, he kept in touch with me, and he would call me up and we would talk. And a super open guy. And I remember, I hope he wouldn't mind me saying this. I remember it's probably a couple years before he passed away. He called me up all excited because he got like a new connection for steroids, and he was gonna get into amazing shape and try to have one last run, which did not pan out, unfortunately, for Buddy Landel. But I like Buddy a lot. Fun interview, and I talked to him, so that was cool. Number 8, Scott Hall, another obviously way more successful than Buddy Landel, but also I think still very not underrated, but a guy that should have been like a perennial world champion, had all the tools, had more so than Buddy Landel, but he looked amazing. One of the best promos, great wrestler, especially for his size. There's no negatives. You just look at him like, wow, this guy's got charisma, just everything about him. But the one thing was his own personal demons. And so Scott Hall, another great guy, a great guest on the show. And I'll always remember, so we're going to have him on, and I call him up, and he was in no condition to perform, I'll say. And so Sid Vicious actually called in and took his place, which was very cool. But what really stood out to me was Scott Hall called me the next day, and he felt bad, felt very bad about it. And he was like, let's, reschedule for the next week. And he had me call him every hour. So I think we started the show at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays during that period. And so I called him every hour from like 11 till 8 to remind him to stay clean. And I was like, it made me really feel bad for Scott Hall, that he really had no control over this, that he had to, not only that, but also the idea that like his word meant something to him. He's like, I'm going to do this interview. And I wasn't paying him, but the idea that he couldn't do the last interview, he was going to make good on it. And that meant a lot to me. And so Scott Hall is also one of my mom's favorite wrestlers. Clearwater Gacy, happy birthday, buddy. Well, thank you, Mr. Gacy. I appreciate that. I wish I had some sound effects here. I'm just going to wiggle this fake belly button. And I thank you. I would auction off some of my birthday gifts. Is that bad, though? Is Zandig coming on the show? You know what, Tyler? I will work on that. I'll see if I can get Zandig on the show. We've had a lot of XPW guys on the show over the years. Corporal Robinson, you can probably know him. Madman Pondo, Ian Rotten, Axel Rotten, Balls Mahoney. I don't know if you ever wrestled in XPW, but anyway, I will see what I can do. CZW. We had a lot of XPW guys on the show too. But CZW is Zandig. Let's see here. Number 7 is a huge name in wrestling, and that's Jon Moxley. And so this one was special to me. We had him on the show when he's an indie wrestler before he went to NXT and then WWE. And I saw him live, and I was like, "Oh, damn, this guy's great." And he had a buzz already from his promos, and like we even would play him on the old audio show because he cut some great promos even back then on the indie scene. Much skinnier guy back then, and so yeah, like man, this guy's like great. And I really didn't think he would ever take off on because at this point in time, WWE really looked down on indie wrestling, wrestlers. There's always a chance, maybe you would go to TNA. And he didn't really have the body type that most of the guys in WWE had. So I didn't really, foresee that. And this was before, Kevin Owens. Like Kevin Owens, comes in like before him, but this is before Kevin Owens is like a big star in WWE or Sami Zayn or, a lot of guys. So I never thought that would happen. Plus, when I saw him live, he was doing, hardcore stuff. He had a great I Quit match I saw live. And another thing that makes this one special is off the show, he told me that he was moving to Florida to live in his car to try to get a developmental deal. I think it was FCW at the time, maybe, with WWE because this was his life, was wrestling. And, I know Jim Ross always talked about having a plan B, but he was not a guy of plan B. His plan was, I want to be a wrestler. And at that time, it was, if you wanted to be a full-time wrestler, make a living, it would be in WWE. And that happened. So, yeah, Jon Moxley, number 6. Number 6 is a weird one because this guy, at times, like, he legit threatened to kill me or beat me up. I think kill me. But he's also super nice at other times. And I think he legit was bipolar because he stabbed people in the ring, but also could be very funny. It's a peculiar guy because even on his dark side of the ring, that Jack would he'd be talking about beating up old men or stabbing guys, but he's smiling. He's got so much charisma. It's like, yeah, that's funny. Then you stop and think about, well, wait a minute. I'm not supposed to like this guy. But a big fan of New Jack, and if people don't know, New Jack is on the one, and at this point in time only, gangster rap CD that I produced, and that is a Duckman for President, and on the track 187. Is there one? Let me go find it. You know what? I could probably play it. There's a track with New Jack on it. Would you guys like to hear it? Have you ever heard it? But I'm on the track too because when Duckman was cutting the track, so I called up New Jack, recorded some stuff with them. It's kind of like spoken word, and then they put it in this rap song. And at the end, like I'm still talking, and he left it in because he said I sounded like the whitest man on earth. So I thought that was funny. I think it's 187. Let me grab it here. Duckman for Presidente. I know it's somewhere here. Let's see. Duckman does our original theme, which I did not play tonight. Here, 187 Gangsters. I think it's a heart gangsters. All right, let me pull this up. So if you've never heard this is the rap track with New Jack that he did for a CD that I produced. I know people see me and they think, yeah, this guy's a gangster rapper. Yeah, and this was a poster that came. I think it was also the inside cover of the CD back when CDs existed. I think I still have one upstairs. Whatever happened to Duckman is alive. I wish him well. Can't say he's doing great at this point in time, but hopefully things look up for him. But he is still alive.
Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster, and right now, you fucking with the Duck Man. This motherfucker is the baddest nigga around. He dropping lyrics like it ain't no goddamn tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? He rap about it, you motherfuckers tap about it. This is my original OG, believe that.
Yo. Now that I got your attention, let your belief be suspended. To the throne ascended as was intended. El Presidente by New Jack recommended. No apprehension to dig down in the trenches. If it's a battle, you're best to pick sides. Getting thrown off the scaffold like bitch-ass Vic Grimes. Bongs, I rip mine. Never snitched, did my time. Let the lawyers get me out and just pay a big fine.
Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster from the original ECW, you know what I'm saying? And right now, I'm fucking with my boy, the Duck Man. This motherfucker is the baddest rapper out there today, you know what I'm saying? You motherfuckers try to follow him, you can't follow him if you had a motherfucking GPS, you know what I'm saying? This is my boy, this is my dog, believe that. You can't touch him, you touch him, I'll touch you. Believe it.
They got gold chains, we stab with scalpels. Build bombs with propane, drive jeeps filled with rifles. People complain and remain spiteful, never insightful. I don't pity those fools, their dreams are frightful. I get played on Winamp, I get bumped in smoked out cars. Sold out bars, buying beers with food stamps. We the new champs, your lips will glue that shut with a box of nails and a punctured lung.
Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster, and right now you fucking with my boy, the Duck Man, the baddest motherfucker out there today. Believe this by his shit, because there is none other. He's the originator. The rest of these motherfuckers is a duplicator. They cannot touch him. If they had a motherfucker still pole, they cannot deal with my boy. He's my nigga. Believe that. If you don't, I'll stab your ass.
Just about.
You see it, you believe it. Carve out your eyes, now you don't believe shit. Guns, I got a suit full. Poison in your soup bowl when I don't want to shoot a hole. Never make an investment that's not recoupable. Bald like Spider Jerusalem. Down with the witches in Salem. Blunts, I inhale them. Blow out and cause a derailment. Not even a stalemate will change your fate when your head hits the fucking pavement.
No, I'm straight. You call me at the best time of my life. I've been drinking. Thank you.
So yeah, you heard me at the end there, and Duck Man, I kept that in. I'd play more, but I don't know. I assume we would get. I don't know how we get strike for that since I produced the track, but I don't know. Who knows? So there, yeah, it was. That's from Duck Man for Presidente. I know. I think I have just one left, but I think I'll probably keep that. Exceptionally white, yeah, exactly. Not a big rap fan. I always assumed Go-Go was a big rap guy. So you never heard. Did you produce this album before or after Duckman accused you of costing him a record deal? This I was trying to keep this positive, but that was the album that led to Duckman accusing me of things. So yeah, no, I try not to think about that stuff. I try to be a positive guy. All right. So they are 6 New Jack. Number 5. Thank you. Yeah, Tuesday Booker, Tazo. I believe that's Tazo, right? Album is great. Duckman is amazing. Yeah, shout out to Duckman. Whoa, buddy. Yeah. So there's I believe there's 3 New Jack interviews over on YouTube. Check those out. I remember 2 of them are great. I think all of them are fun, but 2 of them I thought were real. I think one he's a little more not in the best mood, and the other 2 he's very funny. And then he's awesome. He used to just call into the show. He called in when George South was on, and he called into my horror movie show. We had Jessica Cameron on, and he'd just like, I saw you had this white woman on, and I was like, oh Jesus. So number 5, I mentioned him earlier, and that is a Sid Sid, I mean, these five, the next five really could be in any order. They could be, you could argue Sid's number one, but Sid, great guy. I was gonna co-host his podcast. I probably should have done it, but I'm already. I don't know. I just the idea of putting a few hours more a week into doing another podcast was a lot. But Sid was a great guy. Did the show many times. He filled in for Scott Hall when Scott Hall couldn't do the show. Didn't ask him to do that. And the thing is, like, he gets a bad rap for not being reliable, but always exceptionally reliable to us, even going above and beyond. And he was battling cancer the last time he was on the show, and he didn't tell anybody. So when he passed away, a lot of people will. If I don't know what to think about that. Like, if I was in that position, I get the idea of not wanting people to treat you differently. But yeah, Sid, great guy. Number 4. Yeah, number 4 for me was the first time I actually really felt like, oh, I think I'm a good interviewer. And that was J.J. Dillon. So we had J.J. Dillon on, and he's very like straight, no kind of nonsense guy. And I thought the interview went excellent. I read his book. I took notes, and it was like my third or fourth interview ever, I think. And up until that time, we interviewed some cool people, but the J.J. Dillon one to me was like an actual interview where I made an outline for the other people, but this one, like, I read his book, I took notes, and I came really prepared, and that was a big confidence booster. Was the J.J. Dillon interview for me. So I've had a little contact with J.J. Dillon. We had him on twice, but he's not like a guy I talked to in decades, honestly. So it's not like I'm a personal friend of his, but J.J. Dillon, the interview itself made me feel like I'm a good interviewer and this is something I could do. So that's a personal favorite of mine. Number 3 is a guy that I call a friend. He put me in his book. I talked to him. He sent me gifts. He sent me a Three Stooges tie when I was sick in the hospital. He actually has an In Your Head patch sewn into his wrestling jacket, and a man that will be returning to the show. If you add up all the hours of interviews with George South, I think it would take you a day to listen to, because I think all our interviews are at least 3 hours long. Our longest one is over 4 hours, and that is, yes, George South. Huge fan of George South. Also, something that people can, I think, is a good message in today's world is George South, very religious guy, Christian man. I'm an atheist. This never gets in the way of us being friends. I never really bring up anything like that to him. He never brings that kind of stuff to me. I don't mind when he's talking on the show about Chris being born again, saving his life. That's great. I think that's wonderful. A great guy, and like I said, I think that's a good message, especially for today. That could go a long way for lots of reasons. So George South, and a great storyteller. Also, guys trained a lot of people, and people like Ric Flair trusted their kids to train with George South. Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat, and those are two of the greatest workers of all time. And if they really trust a guy like George South, that means a lot. Number 2, Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer was the first guy to agree to come on the show. He was not the first guy to come on the show, but he was the first guy to agree to do it. But scheduling wise, it took a little while. So honestly, that first year of In Your Head, for me, like, if that didn't go so well, I don't know if I would still been doing the show. So there was like a series, in my opinion, of great interviews. J.J. Dillon, like I mentioned earlier, Paul Bearer, and a lot of different kinds of interviews. J.J. Dillon's really like kind of a straight interview, informative about like the psychology of wrestling, the history of wrestling. And then guys like Paul Bearer and some other people I'm going to one other guy I'll mention in a little bit here. What I liked about them is I thought they really fit into the show because you could talk about like the psychology of wrestling, the history of wrestling, but they also weren't afraid to be very silly because the show can be very silly. And so Paul Bearer really fit into that, and the number one guy as well. And then another guy, which is not on here, really should be, or at least should be honorable mention, is Ox Baker. Ox Baker's it won best interview that year on Live Audio Wrestling. What's the website? I always forget the name of this website. But anyway, it won best interview. It was really fun. And that was just like a fun, goofy interview, Ox Baker. But the Paul Bearer one, like we covered a lot of stuff. And I'll always remember at the end of the interview, I asked him, I was like, Paul, I got one more question. And he goes, "You're going to ask me if I'm a queer, ain't you? You suck one dick and makes you a queer." I'm like, no, Paul. I was going to ask you that off air. But yeah, Paul Bearer, great. Was on the show several times. As I got older, I mentioned this last time we were live. The last Paul Bearer interview, he was different than the other two. And at that time, I thought it was because he got an ego because he went back to WWE. Looking back, I don't think that was the case. I think it was he didn't have much longer left, and I think he knew it. His wife had passed away. He was really going downhill. So I have a different perspective on the third Paul Bearer interview. The first two, I think I would stand by as two of the best interviews. And number one, and I know this is egotistical, but I always think In Your Head had the best Terry Funk interviews out there because Terry Funk really got us. We really got Terry Funk. People would have Terry Funk on and really fixate either on ECW or fixate on the deaths in wrestling, fixate on being super serious or very somber. And you could do that with Terry Funk, but Terry Funk liked to be really goofy too. So you could have him on here. You could talk about, the death of Eddie Guerrero, but you could also talk about just some stupid ass stuff like the music he put out in Japan. And so I mentioned Duckman earlier, and so Duckman called into the Terry Funk interview. And we used to take, audio calls. It was audio only. So we took phone calls. And Duckman calls in, and he's like, "Is it true? Terry Funk, is it true that you fucked Missy Hyatt on Thanksgiving table?" And Terry Funk said, "No, it was a Christmas table. What are you boys trying to do to me?" And but before that, just like split second before he answers, in my mind, I'm like, Terry Funk, one of my idols. Like Piper was a guy that I grew up, was my favorite, Piper and Mick Foley, and then right up there's Terry Funk. Like, God damn it. You got Terry Funk on the show, and Duckman's called in. He's going to ruin it. He's going to tell all the wrestlers never go on this guy's show. But he played right along with it. It's very funny. I regret not having him on more often. I think we had him on 3 times. Always remembered when I call him up. He's a good guy. But, when you're we started the show when I was in my 20s. And then when I was, into your 30s and stuff, you don't really think about, you don't think, oh, these guys ain't going to be here forever. You just say, people will be here forever, whatever. But as you get older, you realize they won't be. So looking back, it would have been great to have all those guys on more often. Sir Oliver Humperdinck should also be on the list. Not really for the interview. The interview, because he had phone problems. So it was him and Gary Hart, and he's only on a couple minutes. But Sir Oliver Humperdinck really was put in a good word for me at FanFest and would tell the other wrestlers to like me. And I really appreciated that. And I'd wear this goofy, I thought it was pretty sweet, red jacket. And he used to try to encourage me to go to Cauliflower Alley Club. And I really wish I did. I think if I just went now, it's kind of like this outsider mark. But if I would have went and had like someone vouching for me, I think it would have been a different story. Yeah, it wasn't live. Yeah, Live Audio Wrestling. I think that was one of the shows I watched, listened to. If anyone in here wants to ask any kind of history questions about In Your Head, because we've been around over 20 years, pre-podcast, the term podcast wasn't around when we started. Post them in the chat. I'll ask them. And if you super chat, I'll really like it. But you don't have to. You can just send them in here. I'll answer them. But so when we started, we were all on a message board back in the message board days. And so so at that point in time, like the terrestrial radio shows were starting to experiment with the internet to really not really live stream so much, but to have a place for their archives. Or otherwise, they're kind of just lost into the ether after they would play on the radio. And so it's so the shows we listened to were Get in the Ring was the main one. Get in the Ring, Between the Ropes, Live Audio Wrestling. For me, live. I don't know if Intro listened to Live Audio Wrestling, but I listened to Live Audio Wrestling, and Meltzer on IATA. That was probably the main ones. Dave Meltzer on IATA, which that was streaming. That's kind of a precursor to live streaming, because I don't think it was on the radio. I think it was only live streaming. I think it was satellite, maybe. The other ones were on terrestrial radio, and then they would have the archives on this website, and then eventually they would. They weren't really doing live stuff at that time on those channels. IATA was, but doing a live show was very hard back then. Like, you didn't just have all these websites and all these platforms like StreamYard to just do it for you. You actually really had to figure it out. And so I remember when we started doing live streaming, Intro was like, I think we could do this on this program, Skype. And so actually, originally we were just recording them on Skype. And then we started to go live. And I don't know what happened. Actually, who were the, I hate to say this, who were the redneck guys? Trey and Go will know. They were the Southern guys. The one guy passed away. And so they were doing the show live, and we guest hosted the show one night. And so they taught us how to do live. But we would not really Incher would show people how to use Skype, which I don't even know. People think, well, Skype's pretty self-explanatory, but it wasn't so much then. It was fine to use it, but to actually stream Skype or to record Skype was a lot different, because things weren't, your computer wasn't built for that at the time. You had to either have two computers to record what you hear, or else you'd get this, you'd get the feedback of the voice, or you would have to use like virtual cables. So it was actually a pretty laboring process. Not that, no, it was a wrestling radio program. Although I would like to get those guys on the show, or the one guy's left. I thought the James Ellsworth interview was really good because it was the first one after the Raw appearance, and it got a lot of media coverage. Yeah, that's very true. So we had when James Ellsworth, he did it. If you don't remember, he was a jobber before they signed him, and he got squashed by Braun Strowman. And so I reached out to the guy and got him on the show. And it was a really fun interview. And then WWE ended up signing him, and he had like a couple year run in the company. How did you start? That's a good question. How did you start booking guests? So when my first really in was, I won a contest before I started doing the podcast, where I got to guest co-host Get in the Ring. And so, who was the guest on that? Orlando Jordan, maybe? It wasn't. No, it was Jesus. Not like a super memorable guest, really, but I got to co-host the show. And then so that was like a big deal. It was like a real radio show, and I was the guest co-host. And it was the show I listened to. And so I started doing their recaps, because they would get people, fans or whoever to recap their interviews, do like a transcript. I wouldn't transcribe the entire thing word for word. And another thing too, like, you could do that. You could actually transcribe stuff now right off YouTube, but at the time, like, you couldn't. So, and they weren't even on YouTube then. But So I would write, I would handwrite, not by hand, but I'd type up a review of, or, what was I say? Like, transcribe the interview, but it would be highlights of the interview. And so, and there was an art to that because you can't make it look just like an ad. So you can't just have like a couple like keywords and like a sentence. You also can't transcribe the entire thing because you want people to go listen to it. So, you'd have like, some highlights, but it would have to be enough highlights that websites would post them. And so then that's actually how I got connected then to Meltzer, Alvarez, OneWrestling.com. I don't know, just a lot of the news sites, especially at that time. And it's also how I started to get contacts because I would book some of their guests for them. And so I have them the master list, which at this time probably not that useful. Even at the time, it wasn't that useful, and I'll explain why. It was useful for them because they had made the contacts. But the idea of calling up someone this cold and being like, "Hey, I'm this guy and I host a show," and like I remember I called Mick Foley and he's like, "Well, how'd you get this number?" And then I was like, "Oh, well, I got it from," and then and it's a bad spot for them because it's like, "Oh, well, this guy who does our transcripts has the numbers because he helps out, but then he's using them for his own personal use." So I actually found out really early on that was not good. I think I set up maybe one guest through there, Gene Okerlund, mean Gene Okerlund. So what I did was I asked Sir Adam and the Phantom, but Sir Adam was one who gave me the really best advice about. I was like, "How do you get guests on your show to interview?" And he's just like, just ask people. The worst they're going to say is no. And this is the advice I give today, 20 years later, when people ask me, just ask somebody, reach out and ask them. The worst they're going to say is no. Things are a little different now because there are so many podcasts. And I had the luxury, obviously, of doing stuff for 20 years. So, Without Your Head, I get some really big guests lately. We might have Steven Dorff on this week. Lou Ferrigno's coming on. And I wouldn't have got those people like the first year of the show. But now it's like, oh, well, I've got a 20-year archives. There's a history of the website. And so that helps, obviously. But you have to start somewhere. So reach out to people. And now actually with social media, it's a little easier to reach out to a lot of people. It used to be, well, Paul Bearer has a website, so I can reach out to him. JJ Dillon has a website. I can reach out to him. But another thing, too, is so if there's like a convention, if there's a festival, if there's a signing of some kind, maybe those people at those events want to, promote this. So I would ask them, they'd come on. Again, things are a little different now with social media because they're already promoting that stuff all over the place. But at the time, it was useful. Be like, hey, you want to come on in the show? We'll promote your appearance at FanFest in Charlotte. Not only will we review it, we'll post it. We'll plug that on the show. We'll plug it on the website and in the recaps that go out to all the major wrestling news sites. Today's a little different because I have an existing website that's been around a long time, and so but it's still a similar idea. Like someone has a new movie. If someone has a book, if someone has an event that they're coming to, or you can just reach out like, hey, I like this movie and I'd like to talk about it. You're going to get lots of no's, and I've got many, many no's, and many people just never reply to you. So you can't get mad about that. You can't worry about that. It's just the way it's going to be. My favorite no ever is not a wrestling one. But I asked William Shatner one night to come on the show, and I immediately got a reply on Without Your Head, my horror show. And it was in capitals. It's like, William Shatner only does major, all in capitals, major media outlets. And, it was from his agent or whatever. But in my mind, it was just William Shatner. And he read it at 3 a.m. and he's like, How dare this idiot ask me, William Shatner, to come on his show? Another thing back in the day was I would get not so much wrestling. Actually, the wrestlers were pretty wrestling for the most part embraced the internet. Except for WWE was always like, no, we don't want you. They wouldn't want people on not that we're rivaling WWE, but they wouldn't want their stars on other podcasts. They've been more lenient about that over the years, but from the 2000s up until not that long ago, they were not having it. But they would let people go on the actual radio. They were actually behind the times on that because, like I was saying earlier, or I was about to say, is I'd have people like, oh, I don't do internet interviews, I only do real radio interviews. And the thing with that is, maybe at one point that made sense, but in today, like, okay, way more people are going to hear you if you're on Joe Rogan or, when Mark Maron was around or whoever, whoever the big podcast is. And they have more, there's way more potential anyways, way more potential than like if you're on a local radio show out of Poughkeepsie. Like the only benefit to that is if you're on an event in Poughkeepsie and then it's like, oh, it's cool to be on the radio in that area. Otherwise, like it would make more logical sense to be on the internet. In reverse of that, I don't know, does it do a lot of good, like to come on a global podcast to promote like a local event? I think it would depend on the local event. So if it's like a local, like you're at like a bookstore to sign like for 2 hours, no, that probably doesn't make any sense. But if you're at a convention that's over 3 days, it would make sense because people do actually, fly out and travel for that kind of stuff. So I hope that answered the question. Yeah, it was ahead of its time. It was. And I think, it was just too expensive to run at the time. If they could have kept afloat for a few more years, it probably would have ended up being really big. After Yada folded, Wrestling Observer Radio was on Real Radio, but it also streamed online. Yeah, and it still is, and it's super annoying because there's like so many breaks. It reminds you of why, like you do, like, oh yeah, I don't really want to listen to the radio anymore. It's like they talk for 5 minutes. And it's like, oh, now we got to go to break. Thanks to, blah, 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 blah. Do you remember the original Jim Cornette Experience on Who's Slamming Who with Tommy Fierro? Yes. Yep. Who's Slamming? Whatever happened to Tommy Fierro? I believe we were Facebook friends. So if you don't know, we started In Your Head in 2005. Happy belated Neil. Wished you a happy birthday on your birthday in the chat, but I don't know if you saw it. I did. Thank you, Ghost Crusader. And now that I'm gonna have some more time, I'm going to read your script. And I also gotta get into some Arbor Day stuff. By the way, my I wish I could show it. I know I can't show it, but my the trailer for my new movie premiered today. In I believe it was Sayersville in New Jersey, and so it'll be available online very soon. Then he got canceled. Who got canceled? Cornette. I'm not sure who that was in reference to. Wonder what? Yeah. Oh yeah, so there's a lot of that. I'm gonna we'll talk about that probably Tuesday. I've seen a little. I just haven't. It's my birthday this weekend. It was a big one. Not only is it like it's the 50th birthday, and I don't want to go into this all the time, but I got very sick and was told I was not gonna live to be 50, and so the fact that I did was a big deal for me. And when I say that, I don't want people to think, oh well, he must not be going around too much longer. But I got much healthier, so I'm not in any. I reversed my diabetes and high blood pressure and had multiple surgeries for various ailments. And it was a long time, and I changed my lifestyle. And so hopefully I will be here for a long time, in case, but accidents can always happen, but I'm not in any like health concerns at the moment. Orlando Jordan. We should not pop all these up. I should get a producer here. We could. I don't want to get a new co-host until we know if Incher's not. By the way, I am going to. I know we're into February here, but I'm going to get the Heady ballot up, and then we'll do the. But they do the Oscars like in March or something, right? So it's all right. We'll do. It's kind of like award season now. So Headies, for people who don't know, that is our annual award show. Although Phantom did an internet radio show after Get in the Ring, yeah, he actually contacted me for info, like for some help to get that launched. And then after he folded it, he immediately unfriended me again. Mike B, how many times have you started an interview and thought, oh man, this isn't going anywhere? It's not a great feeling when you're trying to do your thing and the subject isn't into it. That's a great question. So that's happened many times, honestly. Barry Darsow, who I really like, but it was just rough. He just, didn't want to. It's not even that he didn't want to answer anything. He just was saying yes or no. Anytime someone just answers yes or no, like it's just rough. And I remember who's the guy who played Eddie Munster? That was the hardest one for Without Your Head. He literally, so I booked him like a month or two in advance, and I watched all the Munsters. I really prepared a lot for this interview, and took notes like throughout both seasons of the Munsters and all stuff. And then when he comes on, he's like, I got 10 minutes. And he literally just answered yes or no for everything. That was bad. So there's been a couple on In Your Head specifically. And this was back when we were audio only, so I could type with Incher. And I can't remember the one, though. There was one that was really, really rotten. I know who it was. It was someone can help me. She was the girlfriend for X-Pac. She had a wrestling name for a while. Anyway, she was on the show. It was bad. And I told Incher, I'm like, I'm going to get an hour out of her. And he was just like end it. And I was just like, no, I'm gonna get an hour out of this. And so I kind of I don't know, maybe trolled myself on that. I don't know, but I did. We had around an hour. Usually if I know it's not going well, I try to get something out of it. I try not to do an interview less than a half hour unless press day stuff they just give you a certain amount of time. So if you ever see one of my interviews and it's like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it's a press day interview. Probably anything under 20. If it's a half hour, it could just be that's what time they told me beforehand, or it could be I was like, oh, I think this is probably time to wrap it up. Or it's not always that it's bad either. It's like if someone has a finite stuff to talk about, I think it's good, but to me it's more of a feeling thing. It's just like, oh, I think this seems right. Let's end this, or let's keep this going. But that's not really what you're asking. Like, just like, man, this isn't going anywhere. Just honestly, just a couple times. The Barry Darsow one. I can't remember the woman, and the guy from the Munsters. But to answer that more would be the Barry Darsow one, because it was just the way he was answering stuff. Like, I just knew, like, oh, this is going to be bad. This can be rough if everything is just. I remember I was like, oh, at this point in time, like, the Demolition were bad guys, but like they were starting to get cheered, and then the goody guys were starting to get booed. And could you tell this was like a shift in fandom, like when people were starting to the rise of the anti-hero, and kind of a precursor really to, I think people think when they think anti-hero, they just think Steve Austin, but I think it was further back than that in wrestling. I think Demolition, I think LOD, really almost all the faces of NWA, I think, were much, not necessarily anti-heroes, but much grittier. And so anyway, I asked the question. I thought it was I asked it well and was well thought out, and he just went, yeah. It's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. I only remember Phantom interviewing Ole Anderson, which is great because Ole was such a cranky ass. Yeah, that's a very memorable interview. I was a big fan of Sir Adam and the Phantom interviews. I would say if there's anyone that influenced in your head the most, it's definitely Get in the Ring. They're kind of like what I like. They knew about wrestling, especially older stuff, and they also like to goof around a little bit. And that's what I think that's really a sweet spot in wrestling. You can't like I like Dave Meltzer actually. But the thing is, I don't think everyone can be Dave Meltzer. So if you're just super straight talking about wrestling, I think it can be pretty boring or almost cringe sometimes. You're like, yeah, dude, you're just watching this show. But if you have to add some levity to it, I think. And then that's kind of like what I was saying, guys, for me on the show, Paul Bearer, Terry Funk were really just perfect guests because they were the same way. They knew that there's a lot of, nonsense to this too, but also not to, there's a line between like, being playful with wrestling and parody and like treating it as a joke or a parody. I'll email would be less untoward. Yeah, you can email. Oh, that was probably in reference when I said about calling you. I did. Thank you, Daniel Culver. I did have a good birthday. Thanks wherever you're watching this. That's on Facebook. I stream this everywhere. I don't know if that's actually really smart or not. Maybe I should only stream it on YouTube because it may take away from other having it on other platforms. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, wherever you're watching, hit the like button and do come on over to the YouTube because it's easier to chat along with everybody and leave a comment after the show and subscribe, become a member. It starts only $3. And thanks to our sponsors, El Santos World, Brian Matthew Clutter, and the Lurker. If you become a $10 tier member, you too can become one of the sponsors here and get your name in lights. If you become a sponsor on Without Your Head, if you're into horror movies, you actually get IMDb credit. Let's see here. I remember Sir Adam got pissed when Trey died. That's who I was trying to think of earlier. Trey and JSK called him on his personal number. Wrestling News Live. That's a show I was thinking of. Played the phone call. Yeah, I'm not. That happens a lot in the Dabbleverse, my other world here. And yeah, I'm not. I don't like people posting personal messages of any kind. Rubbish bin. Hey, Neil, ordered mass. I'm excited. Oh, sweet. I saw you message me earlier about it. I was gonna actually ask some friends because I didn't know any offhand, honestly. But I had I have a lot of friends who probably would. But if you already got it, that's cool. Message me. Let me know what that's for. I'm interested. Ads suck. Also, the ads are awful. Dick pills and gambling. I mean, no one likes ads, but at the same time, like they do. If you become a sponsor here, you won't have to worry about it. You can just, instead of saying buy these dick pills, it can be like, listen to Taza the Greek. The no chin guy. Oh, James Ellsworth. Okay, gotcha. Oh, I think that's who it was. Yeah, Ken Shamrock's sister, Terry. I think that's who it was. Yeah. She was, I want to call her out. I'm going to be a dick, but not a great interview. And I remember I told Intro, I was like, I'm going to get an hour out of this. And I did. Another one actually Vic was there for. I knew right away. It was this is a great example. Was Kelly Kelly. And I'll just be honest, that was terrible. Terrible interview. Wouldn't answer anything in any substantial way. And I never posted it. I recorded it in person. Vic recorded it. And it was just bad. It sucked. I was like, will this get hits? I guess. It's like, this hot lady, but it sucked. Mike B, for me, when I'm interviewing for print, it can be challenging if someone isn't really giving up much and I have to fill a page and make it sound really compelling. Yeah. That's when Mike just makes stuff up. Then he just starts like, yeah, I'm going to bullshit a little bit. Go. Dave is not a good interviewer. Yeah, no, he's not. I'll never dislike Dave. A lot of it, it's like, I don't want to say I grew up listening to him, but I guess in the 90s, I started reading The Observer. And then when I got online, I would listen to Yacht every day. And I think he has great knowledge about the history of wrestling. He gets a lot of news, but I mean, a lot of the news isn't accurate. It just isn't. I don't think he's necessarily a liar, but I think he either hears stuff, people will give him either their opinions or whatever, and he just assumes it's fact or something. Like the whole Brody King thing, like it's clear like he's wrong. Instead of just saying like I'm wrong, he like kind of doubles down. It makes it just weird, and it's just like, we know it's you're not accurate here, dude. I hope you had a great birthday, Jack. Thank you, Simply Ravishing. I did. I had a nice time. Went out with my family. We had a really fun 4-hour birthday stream on Thursday with me, Terrible Troy, Tara Hutchinson, and cousin AJ. I got to see my new trailer for my birthday. That was exciting. And it before everyone else. And I'm really excited about this. It's my biggest role to date in Our Man Funk. I'm really pumped for everyone to see this. Kelly, exactly, Go. For people don't know, that is not Backwards Bob. Swags. Backwards Bob is me. Dave was terrible at everything except historical data. I don't know about everything, but he's got his faults. The thing I never forgot was Kelly saying she can spare 2 minutes for you right after Arn Anderson, a guy really is a legend, talked to you for 50. Yeah, and he legit only left because they were doing his panel. And and Arn Anderson, not known as like the most like friendly guy, honestly, but super nice to me. Swags that ass. Booyah! Yeah, swags that ass. So I'm also let's do here. Let me grab this. This is I'm gonna start clipping more interviews. But let's do let's do the top 10. I'm gonna give you guys, we did my top 10 that are personal to me. Here's the top 10 most listened to. Well, let me see how many we got here. All right. I don't know, whatever top this is. Let's just start. We'll start here. This is the most listened to. I'm looking at the page here. What number, whatever. This is going to go in reverse order. I don't know what number it is, but we've got the Wild Samoans, Afa and Sika. Let's say it's number 20. It might not be 20, but whatever. Then we have the 2016 Sid Vicious interview. And then we've got New Jack. And then, oh, wow, this is kind of surprised us so high. Brian Clark, Chronic, Atom Bomb. The Yeti. I think that one's really highly watched because I don't think there's many Yeti Ron Reese shoot interviews out there. So if you want a 1-hour Yeti Ron Reese interview, In Your Head is your place to go. Paul Bearer interview. I'm not sure which number that is, but that's up there. Dean Ambrose, also known as John Moxley. Stan the Lariat Hansen. Another good one. Another guy probably has not done too many podcasts. A guy that's not done too many podcasts and no longer can do them is George the Animal South. George Animal Steel, I'm sorry. George Animal Steel. A different New Jack interview is here. Wow, so New Jack's on twice on this top list. Sonny, Tammy Sitch. We got X-Pac, Sean Waltman. That's a great interview too. So Sonny was always good too. Oh, wow, this is a good one too. Another guy I don't think was on many things and's passed away, and that is Road Warrior Animal. Another Sid interview is here in the top 10. So now we're going to get to the top 10. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is 10. Let's just say it's 10. If I'm wrong, we'll make it up. Number 10, Black Jack Mulligan. Another guy, very rare, a shoot interview of, passed away not that long ago. Number 9, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Number 8, Kevin Nash. Big, sexy Kevin Nash. Big time interview. Number 7, Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, wow. Number 6, Gold Dust. Dustin Rhodes. Now we're into the top 5. Number 5, Lita. Amy Dumas. That's really cool. Number 4 is definitely a wild interview. Marty Jannetty. A party with Marty. Now the top 3 interviews in the history of In Your Head. Now this is just the most viewed. Number 3. Number 3 is actually surprising to me. Another guy, probably not many shoot interviews out there. I think he actually did a couple for kayfabe commentary, but probably not many podcasts. And that is Playboy Gary Hart. Playboy Gary Hart. 54-minute shoot interview with Playboy Gary Hart. Number 2. The number 2, another rare one. He was even rare at the time, but we met him in person and he agreed to do the show for free. King Kong Bundy. 5 count. 5 count. And the number 1 viewed interview in the history of In Your Head on YouTube. That's not including iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. And we were primarily a podcast until the last 4 or 5 years. But number 1 on YouTube, Scott Hall. Say hello to the bad guy. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. All right. It's a good list. Let's get back to these interviews. Yeah, HBK has actually been on the show. Shawn Michaels. It was not like a super long interview, but he was on the show. Let's see. The Yeti was awesome. Stan Hansen, yeah, both are great. Yeah, it was weird. Before Tony came back to AEW and before he even started doing festivals and conventions, we kept trying to get him on the show. Me, President Clinton, actually, In Your Head people back on Twitter, and he would always say, "No, I'm retired from wrestling," and then bam, he came back, which was pretty cool, but never came on the show. Trivia. The Yeti was supposed to be the Giant Gonzalez. The Mummy rapping was going to reveal a similar furry outfit with white hair. Yeah, he was going to be the Giant Gonzalez because he had left. I remember when we had Bischoff on, he talked about that. Man, Ron Reese was huge. And then the Yeti became like a giant ninja. I got to call in and ask Animal a question when he was on In Your Head. One of my favorite moments. Yeah, Animal's really cool. Yeah, both Road Warriors passed away. Lita was Lita was good. I remember Lita called in when we were in the midst of talking about a pallbearer sex toy. Like I had the idea for an urn fleshlight, and she was just like, what did I get myself into? But she played right along. It was pretty fun. Goldberg was also on the show. Goldberg, that I think that was our first year too. Actually, we had Goldberg on. It's weird. We had Goldberg on the first year, and I've tried to get him back, and I've never had any success. I tried to get him on Without Your Head too. I tried to get him on every Christmas to talk about Santa's sleigh, but I have never had any. never had success. But it's weird that he came on the show the first year before like we really were even known. Yeah, I love Terry Funk interview too. That's my personal number one. But I was that list was just the just straight up most viewed. Ever interview Mike Tenay? No, I tried to get Mike Tenay on a few times too, and it never worked out. We used to regularly get TNA guests on, and how that would work out was they would ask me to send like a list of like 5 names, and I'd always have Mike Tenay on there. But we had Samoa Joe. I don't know. We've got a lot of people from TNA back in the day. Don West. Don West was one of my favorites, and then we had a big falling out with Ross Foreman from TNA. He's not a fan of mine, Ross Foreman. And he's still there. I don't know how that guy's kept his job for so long. Jerry Lawler would be, Jerry Lawler would be great. We probably would have had the best shot when he had that little while when he left WWE. I met Jerry Lawler at a local show. Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool, dude. I used to go to it would be better now because I used to go to conventions and would record, some interviews. And so at the last one, New England Fan Fest, that was cool. Vic Schiavone came along and recorded some fun interviews with me. Now, like I could go and just live stream them, like I do at horror movie conventions and festivals. I don't know if maybe they would do them. I don't know. Thing with wrestlers, a lot of them just want money though. Ross Foreskin, yeah. So yeah. God, I can't remember. There was a lot of details to this. It was weird. Ross Foreman was not, he would name me specifically to people. He's not a fan. And he messed around with a lot of interviews. He got mad because I started setting up the interviews directly with like people with on MySpace actually. So I'd set up some guests, and then God, what was her name? Golgo. One of the TNA girls, one of the original TNA women, had really dark black hair, thick black hair. Anyway, when she came on, she was like, Ross said you guys, go to he even said it was like illegal interviews. You gotta stop doing these illegal interviews and like go through him. And I was like, illegal interviews? Like, and so then I remember I tried to set up he really messed with it because it would have been it was fine, but it could have been a great interview. Father James Mitchell. And Ross just kept messing with it and kept cutting it down less and less. It was the same way with Matt Morgan, and Ross Foreman set up the interview. The thing with Ross Foreman, he didn't want us to swear, which is, I don't need to swear during the interview. And then he would ask us really bizarre questions. Like he wanted the show to have formatted segments. And it's not like, I don't know why he cared what we did after the interview, but he wanted us to, after the interview, like we couldn't do whatever we wanted. He wanted like formatted segments. I'm like, what the fuck do you even care about this shit? And then so he asked me to interview Matt Morgan. And so I was like, yeah, that's cool. And so originally it wasn't scheduled to be super long, but I think it was like 20 minutes. And then he's like, he's got 15 and then 10. And then right before the interview, he's like, you've got 8 minutes and you can only ask about the new TNA trading cards and Matt Morgan's personal baseball card collection. It's like, dude, like no one listening to this wants to hear that. Like we could talk about that in addition to some wrestling stuff, but the idea that we're going to have this guy on and only talk about baseball cards, they should have sent that one over to Ray DeVito. Tracy Brooks. Yeah, that's it. Tracy Brooks. I kind of feel like we got her in trouble because I think after that, like she stopped being on TV. Illegal interviews. Put your hands up, asshole. Exactly. They're taking me in, Booker. By the way, Booker, make yourself useful. Send in a super chat. You don't have to, but send in a super chat. We take Venmo. All right, I'm going to get to the questions on Facebook. I'm not going to take video calls tonight unless someone really wants to call in. And then we're going to get back to our regular show on Tuesday. I hope Inchman comes back. It's definitely the end of an era if he doesn't. But at the same time, I'm not against apologizing if I did something, but I also don't. It's kind of a thing today where people are anti-apology, and I'm not anti-apology, but I also don't think you should apologize if you don't mean it. So I don't believe I did anything, especially to warrant getting blocked. Known the guy for like 25 years. All right, here we go. Brian Matthew Clutcher. Are you good in everything? I am. I am good in everything. Jonathan Jackson! What year of your memoirs are you on? We're up to 2026, I guess. I've been writing them as I go. Anthony Chobo, I'm looking forward to it. So far, really hitting these questions out of the park, guys. Geraldine, do it Saturday so I can join in. By the way, Geraldine was my my Valentine this year, off air. Don't tell Alexa. Jonathan Jackson! Were Mike Bessler's AI videos the last straw for OIB? Could be. Blame it on the Bessler. Yeah. Oh, blame it on Mike. He writes for PWI. Gotta blame it on something. Don't put the blame on me. Blame it on the Bessler. Yeah. Dobbs-Dean Maya. Me and Brian Maglinger are friends again. Isn't that great? Hell yeah. Dobbs, what is Robert Budzinski's obsession with poop? Tyler Stevens, what type of merchandise would you suggest for a horror-type wrestling character, i.e. Papa Shango, Kamala, Shark Boy, the Boogeyman? That's kind of cool. I actually designed a Kamala shirt, and then look, I can't get too mad because I don't own the rights to Kamala and everything, but someone did steal a design. It was a brown shirt where I put the moon on the stomach and the two stars up here. I used to sell them, and then wasn't WWE. I don't think it was someone else stole the design, and then they reported my design that I had up for years. I just took it down. It wasn't worth fighting, but I really should promote. I need to do some more wrestling merchandise. There's some 8-bit stuff that's pretty fun. The PWR, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, that's probably what will happen, I think. It'll probably be like guest, and then me do whatever, then bring on, do the callers. That's probably what will happen. You never know what will happen in the future. I assume Intro will eventually come back, but we'll see. Nikhil, nobody wants the conversation of what Triple H actually was before the Attitude Era. Literally a guy the Clique hung around with because he didn't drink and could drive them around to get pills and carry their bags around when they were fucked up. Thoughts? I think that's trivializing Triple H. I do think they rewrite Triple H to be a bigger star than he was, but I also think some fans, no offense, Nikhil, also want to present it like he was like a literal nobody, and that's not true either. He was a big star. He was not Rock. He was not Austin. I don't think he was even. Maybe you could argue he's Mick Foley level. but he was not top tier guy, and they do present him that he was. You like the modern Ric Flair, and he was on the level of Austin and Rock. He just wasn't. But not everybody is. I mean, I would put him under, definitely under those two, under Undertaker, under Cena. This is no way saying he's a bum though. He just wasn't. He wasn't quite the guy they portray him as. They tried to make him, that guy. He just wasn't. That's fine. Sources indicate, but he still was a major star, is what I'm saying. Sources indicate to Body Slam that Royce Keys was backstage at Raw on Monday, and word was that he'll be part of SmackDown moving forward. This motherfucker has kids older than the Road Dogg. You know what's really weird is I read he did an interview, I think, with Stephanie, and he said he's ready to retire and become a producer for WWE. And I was like, this guy literally just debuted. He had like one match, and he's already saying, I'm going to retire from in-ring wrestling and become a producer. What? Who would even sign a guy that's just going to retire? That's not even a name. Motor City Machine Guns hasn't been on WWE TV since November last year. Street Profits haven't been on TV since October. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's not a surprise. WWE's never really pushed tag teams. I mean, I remember when they came in and everybody was telling me Motor City Machine Guns, this is huge. They just won the tag belts on their first night. And I said, yeah. First of all, where do you go from there? And WWE has a track record where they never really push tag teams, and I think it's panned out. So I hold out hope silly ass AI videos do not cause the end of Jack and Incher. yeah, I think they are. I did make some AI videos. I don't think I uploaded them. That was the only thing. I did upload this one, but see, this kind of stuff can't make him mad, can it? Oh. The hell? According to a new report, All Elite Wrestling has shown interest in the Inspiration. Oh, God. With Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee potentially AEW bound. I'm not a fan of all of those two, but I guess they would want to work in some existing tag teams since they have a women's tag title. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't want to attack Incher at all, but I think that kind of stuff's it's pretty goofy. I don't know. I mean, you can't watch and be like, Jack really wants to throw me off a balcony or something. Yeah, I think it adds to the show, but what can you do? Jeff Hardy considered staying with AEW to try to build himself up to an amazing superhero wrestler. Decided to return to TNA after watching a Will Ospreay match. What? So what? He's like, I can't compete with these people. Look, Jeff Hardy's not gonna. It's just way past any point where he's gonna become if he was in his prime now, yeah, 100%. But it's just past the point where he's gonna be like a top tier guy. Robert Stone is the new NXT GM. I was thinking Roger Stone. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, I don't know who Robert Stone is. WWE is a promotion on the back end of a hot streak, running on an institutional confidence that has transformed into blind arrogance. And their complete lack of elevating anybody new during the hot streak has led to relying on a beatdown, ice cold Drew McIntyre to be the foil for Cody Rhodes. I can't comment too much on this because I don't watch, but I kind of think, isn't Drew pretty popular, or not popular, but I thought he's a pretty big star in the company. No, is he not? I think I see people say that about Gunther too, and anytime I do see it, Gunther seems like a pretty over heel. Am I just wrong? Damn, I went to make an AI video. Well, not 40 year. They have because they were when AEW started, they were as cold as they had been for a long time. But the Bloodline was a huge run for them. WWE had a terrible 2025. Yet they still thought people were going to come running for these WrestleMania tickets. Yeah, they're just so high. It's just insane. And now like they're stopping like watch parties because they want people to buy tickets. How about just lowering the price a little bit? Do they ever think of that? They're like maybe not charge, $1,000 for obstructed view. Is that just out of the question? They're like, no, that's crazy. We can't do that. Chris Jericho named Shawn Michaels, Kevin Owens, and MJF as his 3 favorite feuds in his career. Thoughts? Those are pretty great things. So yeah. 1 year ago, I really loved his Kevin Owens run. That was great. 1 year ago today, Ricky Starks made his NXT debut. Has it been a successful year? My opinion, no. And that now, if he was like just a guy right out of the indies and had this year in NXT, like, yeah, that's cool. But he was a guy that had been wrestling for like 10 years, 15 years, was on TV all the time, was on pay-per-views, wrestled Sting, wrestled CM Punk, or had like feud with CM Punk. So to go from that to being a guy in developmental for a year, is that success? No. I remember about 15 years back, someone on the F4W board told a story about Chrissy Hemme and Randy Orton hanging out at a bar. He goes up and says, Matt Hardy and the boys are next door if you want to see them. And Orton replied, I'd rather eat a Snickers and jack off on myself. There's no wrong way to eat a Snickers, right? Or is that a Reese's? R.I.P. James Vanderbeek. I watched him in Dawson's Creek. Rest in peace. Yeah, I never saw Dawson's Creek, but obviously that's sad when someone fairly young dies of cancer. Anyone dies of cancer. It's terrible. All Elite Wrestling returns Wembley Stadium. Oh, sweet. I would really like to go. So anybody out there who wants to pay my way to I have a passport. Let's do it up. Surely WWE can't be so deluded that they don't realize that tickets aren't selling. Yeah, this ticket stuff is insane. TKO, and Nick Khan's going to have to call in the People's Champion to save WrestleMania. Yeah, they're eventually going to run out of these guys to bring back though, like because what isn't The Rock like pushing 60? Like, and every time he comes back, he like destroys them. He like rips every muscle in his body. By the way, hit the like button. Boom. Send in a super chat. All that stuff. You know what? Does anyone... There's a shirt here that someone sent me that is so obscene, I can't show it on YouTube. It's a size, I think it's a size large. Size extra large. I can't show what's happening here. You get the idea though, I think. If someone wants this shirt that is so obscene, I can't even show it. Never mind, wear it. If you super chat $20 right now, or Venmo or PayPal, super tip, you can have this shirt. I'll sign it if you want. Too obscene for in your head shirt. One-time offer, $20, size XL. Where was I? MJF on his thoughts on CM Punk. I hope he's able to enjoy what he's accomplishing over there. I have no idea because the things that he said in my company do go against the things that he's saying now. Some people might say he's a hypocrite. Some people might say, call the hypocrisy police. I agree. I still like Punk as a wrestler, but it kind of broke my heart how big of a hypocrite. When he came back, he's like, I'm home. After he fucking tore apart WWE for 10 years, like, give me a fucking break. And then he's on Twitter. He's like, oh, you're sucking off the blood money cock. And then he goes, not only does he go to Saudi Arabia, he's apologizing to the prince. Fuck you, Punk. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Brock Lesnar versus LA Knight. Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Rio versus the Bella Twins is the rumors for Elimination Chamber. That's a hideous card. So we got what? Cody Rhodes, McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, LA Knight. That sounds pretty good. It's funny they always put LA Knight in this stuff. It's like he never wins, does he? Like, who thinks like, oh yeah, LA Knight's gonna beat all these guys? And then Jay Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, and the other one. I don't know. Doesn't sound too bad to me. On this day in WWE 5 years ago at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day, LA Knight and his WWE. What happened? I think he cut off whatever the question was. No surrender. No, this already happened, I think. So I can't, I could give my predictions, but since it's already happened, it would be like, damn, Jack knew everything that was going to happen on that show. But I'm sure it was a good time. What is it? This is Dobbs. Thank you, Nikhil. Dobbs, what is Anthony Chobot's obsession with women who wear sandals? I don't know. I guess he's got a foot fetish. There was so we were doing the show, at this time, and I really was like, Ryback should become champion. He was so over, and I'm a Punk guy, so it's not like I have a problem with Punk winning, but I had a problem at that time because I think you had something there, and by not going through with it, you hurt Ryback, and he never got that momentum back. And I think wrestling is always about, capitalizing on the momentum. You can say about a lot of things, not just wrestling. Should Dobbs get an Xbox? Go for it. Dobbs is Pepe Poopy. I'm sure he does, or else he's just full of shit. Tyler Stevens, top 5 guys in the Heavyverse who would like to who he would like to cover in Fries. Damn. Well, who's in the chat? Tazo, you got to cover in so Greek fries. You sprinkle some feta cheese, a little tzatziki. You got Tazo the Greek fries. Golgo 13. I think he's just kind of like a straight lace guy. So maybe Golgo 13 with just a baked potato, I think. OIB. Just slathered in a pool of ketchup. It's almost like, how they used to tar and feather people back in the day. This would be ketchup and fried. So you'd roll Incher and ketchup, and then you just dump like a giant basket of fries right out of the fryolator. So they're really hot. They just stick to them. So that's 3. Geraldine in nothing but like just one big steak fry, or maybe 3. 1 steak fry and a couple tater tots. You know what I'm saying? And Vic Schiavone in a bathtub of mashed potatoes, I think. Jason Davis, would you rather lick a homeless man's armpit every time you went outside or eat a homeless man's booger before every meal? Now, I think for these kind of questions, you should at least send in a few bucks. And I'm not saying you got to send in $20, but send me $1 or something. Brian Matthew Clutter, what if you pooped out your mouth and ate with your butt, but your taste buds were still on your tongue? I mean, that would be what would be referred to as bad times. I think bad times. There we go. I could see myself in a bathtub of mashed potatoes. I agree. See? Alexa, WWE is currently changing plans due to sluggish ticket sales. We've done this before. The 2025 Wrestling Observer newsletter has AEW announcer Bryan Danielson as best announcer of the year and Booker T as the worst announcer of the year. Thoughts? I'm not really a fan of Bryan Danielson as an announcer, and I probably agree with Booker. I think he's horrendous. And people know who listen to the show for years, I'm not a fan of Booker T as a commentator. Alexa, thoughts on the rest of the 2025 Wrestling Observer Awards? I don't know. You'd have to post them for me to know. Alexa, after his performance on Super Bowl halftime show, WWE's rumored to have Bad Bunny and the company. Are you intrigued? I mean, the thing is, no, but not for the reasons you're thinking. You're probably thinking I'm like raging against Bad Bunny. I just don't know the guy. I didn't know him before. I don't know him now. Him in wrestling does not interest me, but I don't hate the guy either. So whatever. It really makes no difference to me if he's there or not. A United States senator wants Bad Bunny involved with AEW. Are you intrigued? Same answer as above. Jim Cornette says that Eva has no place in wrestling after her exit. Thoughts? I don't know who that is. WWE is planning to have the Royal Rumble back in the U.S. in 2027 and remain a one-night show. Are you intrigued? Yeah, I mean, the idea of sending any of these shows to Saudi Arabia, it just blows. I'm not going to watch them. It sucked. I didn't watch the Rumble this year. It was the first time I didn't watch it. Alexa, AEW is planning to have Double or Nothing in the Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens. Are you intrigued? Sure. AEW had adult content creators at ringside on Dynamite to flirt with Andrade, but one of the creators posted this is fake LOL on Instagram. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of dumb too. Like, don't you, when you know not to do that, like if you're getting paid, like, have some common sense. Eve Torres, maybe. I don't really know the story there. I'm sorry. Lexar, Ric Flair is planning on releasing an album soon. Are you serious? There's a couple like old ones back in the day. There's a Lawler one. It's pretty funny. It's really bad. And Terry Funk one is fantastic. And of course you get Hulk Hogan's Boot Band CD. I'm all for this idea. Ric Flair, do it. Yes, you know what? I am intrigued, Lexar. The Ric Flair album. Woo! What kind of, you know what? I think he could be like a crooner. Maybe he could be like, because are there any modern crooners? Ric Flair could be the new crooner. Hulkster in Heaven. That's what they should have played at his funeral. So good. I used to give those out on the show. The Hulk Hogan Boot Band CDs. I'll be honest, I used to get them for $1. Now I think they actually go for not for like a fortune, but they go pretty good on eBay now. I should have kept them all. Let's see. There's someone impersonating Bob Hardcore Holly on Twitter. Thoughts? I mean, there's fake me's on Twitter. And look, it's not like I think I'm a complete, nothing or something. But if you're a fake Nasty Neil, am I surprised there's a fake Bob Holly? No. Former WWE Tag Team Champion Heidenreich is now working at Walmart. Yeah, I don't like that people are like ridiculing him for that. He's living an honest life. He's got a job, full-time job. Looked like he was in good spirits. That's what people do. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. QVC could be filled. In fact, Lexar, you don't have a job, so maybe you could do the same thing. QVC could be filing for bankruptcy. Are you sad? I mean, I don't like. I'm not happy that a company would go bankrupt, but it's not like I have no ties to QVC. Hooters has 30 of their restaurants closed nationwide because of bankruptcy. Are you sad? I'm not happy about places closing. I don't really understand the questions. I've never been to a Hooters, so just a quick thought on Hooters. I had lots of fun memories eating at that establishment. Had a few photos taken with the Hooters girls, and even celebrated my birthday there. I even convinced one of my buddies to celebrate his birthday there, and he enjoyed it. Well, there you go, Lexar. Great wrestling content, Lexar. Thanks. Lexar, has Jack something big and wild planned for his 50th birthday? Not really, but I had a good time. Will Jason Mitten suck on Jack's toes for his 50th birthday? We still got the whole year to celebrate, so hey, you never know. By the way, I'm announcing that. People talk about their birthday. It used to be a birthday. Then it was birthday week. Now you see birthday month everywhere. I am celebrating my birthday year. So 2026 is my birthday year. So I'm going to accept gifts all year round. So if you want to send me gifts all year for my birthday, I will open them live on the show. All of 2026, birthday year time. Get the gifts in the mail. Even if you already sent one, you could send them more. Just keep sending them. What the hell? And I will open them live here on the show. Oh, yeah, there's the Macho Man rap CD. I used to have that, too. I probably have it around somewhere. Be a man, Hulk. I run a fake Tom Myers account. That's pretty badass. I wrestled independently for 11 years. I love the business. Oh, that's really cool. Gianna Forever. What was your wrestling name? Oh, I should get Vince Russo on too, since I talked to him not that long ago about coming back on. And that was before he started doing the ICP show. Maybe he'd come back on. That'd be fun. What are your Valentine's Day plans? I spent it with Geraldine. What happened to that wrestling fan dating app? Does it still exist? You got Google, buddy. You can look it up. Would you take Blue Chew for the hell of it? What does that mean? You just take Blue Chew and just sit around with the hard cock? It's like fucking weird. Alexar, would Jason Mitten take Blue Chew anytime he sucks toes? Jason says, I would not need Blue Chew if I was sucking on Jack's toes. Jason Mitten, by the way, if you want to get on these in on these fantastic questions, you can join the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/group/IYH wrestling. But soon there will be a new Discord that will kind of be an umbrella of in your head and without your head. So I think we'll probably move the questions there. He also rapped a tribute song to Mr. Perfect. Yeah, that's a great album. Let's see. Can you make an AI video of me running over Incher? Yeah, I could probably do that, but it's probably not the ideal time. Would Anthony Chobo, would Jessa unblock me? I don't know who that is. All right. Can we either keep the questions wrestling related or at the very least, like in your head related? Like, I don't know. You just ask me some random girl, can I block you? Like, I don't fucking know. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what you did did to them for them to block you in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Huh. Trying to log into my Facebook here, but it's not working. Did someone hack me? Did someone hack me on the Facebook? Let me check this out. Hold on a second. Well, I'll figure it out here in a minute. What did Chobo ever do to Jessa? Yeah. Dobbs, is it pink? I don't know, a bunch. All right, so that's all the questions. I'm going to play a quick best ass in AEW. That's a good question. I need some. Oh, who's the something blue? What's her name? Yeah, she needed the money, but the PWR Army voted Sky. That's who I was thinking of. Sky Blue. Yeah, that's who I'd go with. Sky Blue. Sky Blue. That's a good choice. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to play a video here of something important, and then I'll come back for a little bit, and then we're going to take off for the night. But thank you guys for coming here.
Car, do you need an ambulance?
No, I don't.
All right. Why were you driving over 100 miles an hour?
It's my granddaughter's birthday. I got to get this the next exit.
Right. Did you see me trying to catch up to you behind you?
I didn't see that. I saw lights, but it didn't look normal.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up to you, and you keep taking off.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to outrun you.
I know. I understand that, but that's why I was very confused. All right? Because it wasn't like you were running. It was just like you almost hit, I think, 115 miles an hour. All right, and then you just hit someone because you weren't paying attention. Were you looking at your phone?
No, trying to drive. No, I'm not looking at my phone.
The person was right in front of you. There's got to be a reason you hit him.
No. I haven't been driving my car in God knows how long.
All right. It was right in front of you. You went straight at it at 100 miles an hour. I'm just making sure you're not having a medical condition or anything.
I don't
Do you need an ambulance?
No.
All right. Just your registration. Is your license in here?
No, it's in my pocket.
All right.
I've been driven this car quite some time.
Fast, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, too fast.
Thank you.
Mr. McMahon, how you doing? Hi. I'm the investigating trooper. Okay. So, how you doing? I know who you are. So.
Can you send out like Greenwich unit?
So Trooper Robbins that was following in the unmarked vehicle said you were doing over 100 miles an hour. All right. Before you struck the vehicle. So.
Talking to the officer. Talking to him.
All right, so I'm going to be issuing you a misdemeanor summons for reckless driving, okay? So it's just going to take me about 10 minutes to write it up. I'll give you a court date, probably within 3 weeks or a month. Do you reside in Connecticut? I'm not sure. Okay, so it'll be Where are we? Westport?
Yeah.
All right. So it'll be the court right here. I'll give you the...
Boom. Hey, yeah. Had that been me, they would have opened fire. Exactly. Exactly. I was trying to get the AI videos. Maybe I shouldn't get them open. Maybe this is a sign not to open them, but I had a hard time getting into my Facebook. We did get in. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. It's not really working for me. Oh, we'll save them for Tuesday. We'll save AI videos for Tuesday. AI Tuesday. Any last questions here before I get going? Sorry for not a super long show. We went 2 hours. That's pretty good. We'll be back Tuesday with our regular show. I'll either have a guest this week or we'll start getting them next week. I still have some stuff going on. I got to do some interviews Monday, and I'll probably be going out. Oh, I know. Yeah, we're going out with my family Tuesday, so probably start doing interviews the week after. But we'll be back Tuesday with our regular show with In Your Head, folks. All right. Until then, this is Jackie Jones or Nasty Neil. You can follow In Your Head. You can follow on Facebook primarily and YouTube. And if you want to follow me everywhere else, it's Without Your Head. It's just too many things if I keep up. If I have like two, social medias everywhere. So there is an In Your Head X and an In Your Head Instagram, but I don't really keep them updated. So Without Your Head, and I share the In Your Head stuff on both those two. And coming soon will be the Discord, the Without Your Head, In Your Head Discord. It's going to be Without Your Head Discord, but it'll be an umbrella Discord. So it'll be Without Your Head. It'll have the wrestling section. It's going to have a section for independent films. It's made currently. Right now, it's not been made public. So if you would like an invite, just message me anywhere or email me, and I'll get that out to you. And I'm gonna get the ballot up by Tuesday for the headies. And what I'd like to do is have like a week to people vote, and then take the top 5 or top 3 or whatever in each category, and then do one final vote. I think that'll be the best way to do it. So the first way to vote will be all write-ins, and then we're going to take the best, the top 5 vote getters or top 3, and then do a regular poll, and then we'll probably do the headies themselves the first week of March. Had that been, they would open fire. Yeah, maybe. All right. So thank you guys for joining. Sorry we haven't been on here for a while. We wish the best to the OIB. We hope OIB comes back. If anyone out there would like the shirt that is too extreme to show on YouTube, this was a birthday gift that someone sent me, and it is so extreme I cannot show it on air. Can't show it on Facebook, can't show it on Kick, can't show it on X, can't show it on Twitch. I don't know if I was just saying I can't show it on Grindr, but not really because it's graphic. It doesn't really fit into the Grindr world, if you know what I'm saying. But if you would like this shirt that is too extreme for In Your Head, it was a birthday gift from Jason Minton to me. $20, and I will sign it if you like. And that's how you can find out what's on it. The only way to find out. Love you. Thank you, Simply Ravishing. I appreciate that. I love everyone in the Headyverse. Boom. All right. Thank you guys for joining in. We'll be back. I'm 50 now. I started In Your Head in my 20s, and now I'm 50. I'm an old fucking man now. Good Lord. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. See you guys.